Has anybody ever told you you need to love yourself, or you just need to love yourself more? Whenever you're going through something tough, or you're on the other side of a breakup, or I don't know, whatever the case is. I think about my journey with this thing that is so popular, this idea of self-love, which on the highest level, all love is essentially self-love. But the ego does this interesting thing where it takes any idea, any realization, any indoctrination that you can get that might seemingly be a positive, good idea, and it hijacks it. And it uses the attraction you have to this idea, or this desperation you might feel because of circumstances that you're in that you want to change. And it just basically, co-ops your true nature and injects itself into the process in order for you to continue toiling away, doing the same thing over and over. It seems different every time, new people, new places, but it isn't really any different. And so for me, when I first encountered this concept of loving myself, of self-love, I think it was like, I don't know, maybe 7 years ago, somewhere around there, 6, 7, 8 years ago, I finally really took this concept in and thought, oh, wow, yeah, self-love, that's what I need. I've been, doing all this external love, jumping from relationship to relationship or moving from place to place. I'm just spinning my wheels. I have to figure out how to love myself. And when I honestly sat with that, as a matter of fact, true story, the first person that had brought this idea to my attention and said, you need to learn to love yourself, I literally asked him, how do I do that? Tell me the answer. Tell me, what's step 1, what's step 2, step 3, or, do you have a book? And it's so hilarious looking back that was my first response, was I need someone to tell me how to love myself. But so what I did on this venture of self-love and eventually self-discovery was, I thought, okay, well, I know what I like. I know what I don't like. I know what I like about myself. I know what I don't like about myself, or I know the things that other people like about me, or the things that seem to get me in trouble. I can differentiate between all those things. So here's an idea. I'll just build a character that I really like and that everybody else really likes, and who gets things done and gets rewarded and gets attention and gets love and validation. And I'll just be that character. I'll just stop being these other characters that are more dramatic or less acceptable. And then you enter this new space of creativity where the world is your oyster, and you can just attach any ideology or any method or any cleanse or any diet or any wardrobe or any music or any friends that align with that character. And so then you create this world that is revolved around this character that your ego built, that is very lovable and very enjoyable and very personable and gets a lot of attention. And that's fine. That's great. There's nothing wrong with that. That's not what this is about. This is kind of a personal expression of how that went down for me. But, it ran its course, as all the characters of my ego tend to do, and eventually it spins out, or whatever aspects have been repressed come up and wreak havoc, and or some life circumstance happens that's out of your control that just brings you to your knees and you're like, well, shit, this character doesn't have tools to deal with that, does it? Gotta bring out the big guns. Let's bring the character who's nasty to everybody or whatever it is to deal with this situation. So, long story short, this idea of loving yourself, or for me, this idea of loving myself through the character that I built that I felt was the best possible character I could be. It's all my greatest qualities. I realized that that was just an ego ruse to distract me from actually loving myself. It's kind of funny. So, what is love? That's an important question. I probably should make another vlog all about what I've discovered on that journey. But in a brief summary, I feel that love is more or less just understanding. That's it. It's not, there may be many things that different people experience or attach to this idea of love, but love is understanding. And in the understanding is just acceptance, is just compassion. When you understand something fully, totally, completely, when you see it for what it is, and you see how natural it is, whatever it is, there's really not much other option but to accept it and have compassion for it. And compassion is just an expression of love. They're kind of interchangeable, or one goes with the other. One comes before. It's the chicken or the egg, I guess. So loving yourself is understanding yourself. And in order to understand yourself fully, totally, completely, you have to be yourself. All of yourself. And that's a tricky thing when the ego is hijacking all of your ideas, all of the good ones even, all of the true ones. It's hijacking it and creating a story around it. But I think of it kind of like nature, right? Like in this former version of myself, which was very desperate to receive love and very desperate to be accepted, understood, but didn't really understand that is what I was desperate for. That first attempt at loving myself, and by building this character that I really liked and that was so great and so talented and so kind and so just all the good things. Good. Good character, not bad character. No bad qualities, no evil, no nastiness. It's kind of like going out into nature and going, I love nature, but only really loving the flowers, or only really loving the leaves, or only really loving springtime, not loving hurricanes, not loving mosquitoes, if you live in Florida, not loving, the alligator that could eat you, or the shit you step in when you're walking outside in nature, not loving the bacteria or viruses that you could get and could kill you. It's very selective, this kind of love that the ego hijacks. It's not true love. It's not understanding. Nobody really, or I would say probably the majority of people, don't wish to fully understand or comprehend the nature of bacteria, or the nature of a hurricane, or the nature of poop, or the nature of anything that they feel averse to, or they feel isn't serving them in some way that produces a pleasurable experience or some kind of gain, some kind of ego game in gain. So there's no curiosity about those aspects of nature. There's no desire to understand them, but except for if they cause a problem, right? If you get sick, or if a hurricane's coming and blows down your house, then you care, but you don't love it. You hate it. You're very angry at it. You feel like a victim to reality. But we do this same thing with ourself. We do the same thing with our own nature. And that's why the only real way to love yourself is to be yourself. And then, as you are yourself, understand yourself, accept yourself, see yourself. You can understand why you are the way you are. You just have to look back in your past or listen to your feelings, listen to your inner voice, the intuition, not the voice of the ego. That one's different. And as soon as you really understand, as soon as you really be yourself, there's really no other option but to love. There's really no other option but to have compassion. Because that's nature.